Stories about Joanna had been cooked up. One by one, they were posted online. Overnight, it was all about Joanna Haynes all over the internet. Every day, downstairs in Joanna's office, there were reporters and strikes against her. Despite this, she still insisted on coming to work daily. Back in the Hilbert Hotel. Early in the morning, Jaden came to see Joanna with a bunch of flowers. "Oh, hey, Jay." Joanna greeted him as she opened the door. She had been preparing breakfast for the kids. Even with 3 nannies, she still cooked for her children from time to time. "Have you eaten anything? Sit down and let's eat together," said Joanna. She poured Jaden a glass of milk and went to make another sandwich. Jaden did not say no. He just sat down and started digging in. As a matter of fact, he had always hated sandwiches. However, since it was made by Joanna, that changed everything. "Joanne, I've found a good house. The neighborhood is friendly, and the facilities will protect your privacy just fine. You should move in with the kids recently," said the man. "I will. Thank you, Jay," Joanna replied. She was still making the sandwich, looking a little exhausted. Jaden stared at her thin back, feeling so sorry for her. He rose from his seat and went to give her a gentle hug from behind. "You shouldn't go to the office these days," he was saying. "It's all right. I'm fine. I always said you were fine. But look at you. How much sleep did you get last night?" Joanna gave him a smile and flipped her hair a little. "I'm really fine," she said confidently. "I'm just a little tired." Obviously, she did not convince Jaden. He looked at her side face, concerns in his eyes. "Don't you forget that you have 3 ads by Pup Future children to take care of. Who will look after them if you fall down?" Joanna raised her eyebrows and paused. Then she shrugged and replied, "I'll find a way." Jaden gave a long sigh and spoke up again. "Joanne, you can't put up with this anymore. You have to fight back. Of course, I'm not the girl I was 6 years ago. I'm not going to allow Ingrid and the others to do whatever they want to." "That's good to hear. I'm so happy to see you pull yourself together," said Jaden with a smile. "I've got my PR team working on it. We shall see a reversal tomorrow." Jay, Joanna was not sure how to put it. Jaden gave her a bright smile and cut in. "No, you better stay out of sight for the time being. Why? It will make people even more curious about you. And we would want people to assume that you're having a breakdown. Then the rebound will be even stronger." "Well, all right," Joanna agreed. "Just in time. I can take the kids and move." After all, staying in the hotel was not a long-term solution. She was settling down in the city with the kids. "By the way, you need to take a set of photos," Jaden added. Joanna looked at Jaden in bewilderment. "Photos? Yeah, the public opinion is against you now. You must show some positive images before your reputation is ruined completely. Also, the Haynes Group's share price has plummeted recently. We need to do something. Otherwise, your company will fall apart." "Okay, whatever you say." Joanna had always trusted Jaden. This man was the one last person whom Joanna trusted in this world. The next day, Joanna did not show up at the office. No one at work saw her for the whole day. Did that bitch kill herself or what? Maybe she's just hiding from the heat. People are mad with her. Who knows if someone will attack her all of a sudden if she's seen in public. In the Haynes villa, Roxanne ran over to Ingrid cheerfully with her phone. "Mom, look at the comments below. These guys you hired are awesome." Ingrid sneered as she replied disdainfully, "These are just appetizers. They are far from enough. Don't worry, I will make her pay the most painful price." But then again, it feels good to see so many people calling her a whore. Mother and daughter were talking when Sean came downstairs. "What's so exciting?" he asked. "Nothing," Ingrid answered first. "Dad, have you seen the news?" Frowning, Sean said impatiently, "No, and I won't. Nothing interesting anyway." He did not even have to check to know that there must be nasty news about Joanna everywhere. "Dad, are you just gonna leave her on a rampage like this? The company is a mess right now. If Joanne wants to make a splash, so be it," Sean answered flatly. "When things go out of control, she'll beg me to go back with tears. That's right. Since that bitch gave us a hard time, we will make her suffer, too." said Roxanne fiercely. Sean heaved a sigh. Don't call her that. She's your sister after all. Roxanne pouted. I don't have a sister like that, she said angrily. Dad, do you want my brothers and me, or do you want Joanna? Of course, you're three. We're a family. As for Joanna, alas, that wretched girl. Oh, enough of her. I need to take care of my blood pressure. The next day, someone posted something anonymously about Joanna. 3 Crimes of Joanna Haynes. This title drew netizens' attention at once. There were thousands of words in the article. It recorded Joanna's whole life from her birth up until now. Especially in her teens when she had returned to the Haynes family and had been shunned by everyone, including Sean Haynes, who had never given her any fatherly love. This article seemed to be criticizing Joanna, while in effect, it allowed everyone to take a more global approach to the issue. Netizens' opinions were not so easy to be changed, but they had already taken a glimpse at the full picture, which was the crucial first step. Not long after that, another shocking news was posted on social media. An easy prey, the story of Joanna Haynes with her bloodsucking family. It mainly talked about Joanna's mother. Even Sean's background had been revealed in the article, too. It turned out that he was just Raymond Haynes' adopted son. And Joanna's mother was Raymond's own niece. That meant only Joanna was really related to Raymond. So, it was not hard to explain why Raymond left Joanna 51% of the Haynes group. Meanwhile, Sean and Ingrid's affair had exploded as well. Joanna and Roxanne's birthdays are only 10 days apart. In other words, Sean was having an affair with Ingrid when Joanna's mother was still pregnant. That's amazing. Ingrid Haynes was a homewrecker. The netizens were all taken aback. All these years, Sean and Ingrid were known for their happy marriage. No one could ever imagine that their marriage was a mistake in the very beginning. This news disgusted every netizen badly. Maybe in the old days, people would not say too much about such affairs. But now, netizens had little tolerance for such things. Jaden's PR team made good use of Ingrid's past. And it took them only one night to make Ingrid trending. The social media was inundated with hashtags, Ingrid Haynes proven to be a homewrecker, Sean Haynes abuses his eldest daughter, and, what you don't know about Ingrid Haynes, a mean stepmother who kicked her stepdaughter out. News and posts were everywhere, and with no exception, they were aiming at Ingrid. No wonder Roxanne has a big birthday party every year. The Haynes family never holds any birthday party for Joanna. Holy shit, I wonder how many filthy stories of this wealthy family still remain unrevealed. Ingrid is so mean. How could she treat Joanna like that? As the netizens were enjoying the stories, nearly half of them started to side with Joanna imperceptibly. However, Joanna had been known as a horrible, scheming woman for too long, and it took more time to completely reverse people's views of her. No wonder Joanna has been a shameless woman. I mean, who wouldn't? All because of Ingrid. Man, if I grew up in a family like this, I might be more bitchy than her. Back in the Haynes villa. Mom, look at all this news. Roxanne dashed over with her phone, and she showed it to Ingrid in a hurry. Ingrid was giving herself facial care when hearing it. She smirked triumphantly and didn't even open her eyes. More stories of that little bitch. What are? Chapter 22. They about. Go on. Read a few paragraphs. I need some entertainment. Roxanne replied anxiously, No, Mom, no. Someone posted online about the stories of you and Dad. They said you were a homewrecker and a terrible stepmother. Ingrid's face fell at once as she hurried to grab Roxanne's phone. It must be Joanna who did this, she said through her gritted teeth. She must have found someone to do the dirty work for her. Ads by Pub Future. With that, Ingrid looked down at the phone and read, Ingrid Haynes was a homewrecker who drove Sean's ex-wife away with babies in her belly. Ha, so what? That old, ugly bitch failed to keep an eye on her husband. That's not my fault. But Roxanne appeared to be more worried about this. But, Mom, it's not good. People are talking about us everywhere. You know the Everetts, they think a lot of reputation. What will Bruce think of me if he reads the news? Dad is no longer chairman of the Haynes Group after all, and people in the Greeport have stopped treating us with respect. You remember my birthday party? Several girls never even showed up. Ingrid's face turned even more gloomy. Don't worry, I will make some calls to make sure these boring stories disappear. Mom, is this gonna work? Don't worry, I know the wives of some online celebrities. They'll do me a favor. Ingrid assured her daughter. Finally, Roxanne felt a little relieved. Mom, you have to deal with this. We can't afford the Everetts to see this. Ingrid twitched her lips a little. She dialed the manicurist's number as she asked nonchalantly, have you worked things out with Bruce recently? Frowning, Roxanne heaved a sigh. Bruce is on a business trip to Europe these days. He'll be back tomorrow, said she, slightly injured. So you called him? Yeah, but he always hung up the phone, saying that he had a meeting or something like that, and I barely got the chance to say anything. Ingrid narrowed her eyes to process this information for a while. Come on, let's go to the old Everett mansion, she rose, putting the manicurist behind her. What? But why? Roxanne's eyebrows were knitted. Silly girl, we're going to visit Bruce's grandmother, Margaret. Haven't I always told you to visit the old lady from time to time? Go on, get dressed. Fine, Roxanne replied, and reluctantly, she went upstairs to change. Margaret Everett was Bruce's grandmother. She still lived at the old Everett mansion. And Roxanne had a feeling that Margaret didn't like her at all. Margaret never said anything harsh to Roxanne, but every time they met, the old lady had always been cold. Therefore, Roxanne normally avoided seeing Margaret if it was not necessary. Soon, Ingrid and Roxanne arrived at the old Everett mansion. It was located on a mountain near the coast. Although the mansion was old, it was one of the most expensive estates in Greyport. The Everett family had countless properties all over the world, but Margaret had always lived in the old mansion. During the holidays, Bruce would go back here to live with his grandmother. Ingrid drove along the mountain road, slowly getting into the lush greenery. Even the oxygen here was abundant and clean. Greyport was a very busy city, and the air pollution was also serious. Nevertheless, this place was like an isolated fairyland. At the gate, the handsome young guard stopped the car and asked warily, "What are your business here?" Ingrid rolled down the window hastily and gave the young guard a sweet smile. "It's me. I just got off the phone with your butler. I have an appointment with Margaret at 10 o'clock. Oh, so you must be Mrs. Haynes," said the guard and opened the gate. Ingrid and Roxanne went through 2 more gates after that. The car had been driving for more than 10 minutes, and finally, they arrived at the front yard of the villa. "Greetings, Mrs. Haynes," Ms. Haynes, Margaret's butler, Corbin, greeted them. He had been waiting at the door. Corbin wore a neat tailcoat and gold-rimmed glasses, polite and meticulous. He had been working here for over 30 years, and he was Margaret's most trusted servant. "Oh, dear, this place is huge. It's several times bigger than our house," said Ingrid. Even though she was a rich lady, she still couldn't help but be amazed by the splendid mansion. 10 minutes later, the butler took Ingrid and Roxanne into the living room. The living room was more like a banquet hall, in Roxanne's opinion. It was so large that it was enough to hold a party for hundreds of people. And the old lady, Margaret Everett, caught her eyes at once. Margaret was sitting on the sofa. A pair of glasses with a chain was placed on her nose, and she was wearing a gown with a silk shawl on her shoulder. Margaret was so noble and dignified that it was not hard to tell her beauty when she was young. "So nice to meet you, Mrs. Everett," Ingrid said. "It's been a long time." She smiled obsequiously as she approached Margaret to shake her hand. Ads by Pub Future. Margaret just sat there without even looking at her. She had no interest in responding to Ingrid's flattering, false manner. "Yeah, it has. Now, please, be seated," said the old lady indifferently. Smiling awkwardly, Ingrid quickly handed over the fancy gifts she had bought. "Here, this is our gift for you, Mrs. Everett. A small token of our appreciation. Please, take it." Chapter 23. "Oh, you're so kind," said Margaret and turned to speak to the maids aside. "Tea for our guests." She was petting the cat in her arms, showing no interest in the gift at all. Ingrid had to put down her gift on the coffee table. Then she and her daughter sat down stiffly. The maids walked over and poured them teas. "So, is Bruce back from his business trip?" Ingrid asked tentatively. Margaret raised her eyebrows slightly. Yeah, he's not back until tomorrow, she replied with an aloof voice. Oh, well, then will he? Why are you here today, Ingrid? Margaret interrupted her. Let's just cut to the cheese here. Ingrid laughed dryly and answered a little sheepishly, nothing important. I just thought I should stop by and visit you. Because, you know, Roxy misses you so much. She's always telling me she's coming to see you. That made Margaret's lips curl into a faint sneer, and her sharp eyes turned to Roxanne. Roxanne was too nervous to make eye contact with Margaret. She merely forced a smile. In fact, Roxanne was not always like this. In the beginning, she tried to impress Margaret. She acted like an innocent maiden. She pretended to be sensible, and she even tried to do things as a virtuous girl did. But her attempts all failed. Margaret just did not buy it at all. Oh, well, said Margaret and rose from her seat. Since you have no important matters, I'll go upstairs and take my afternoon nap. Ingrid stopped her and said, please wait a minute. Yeah, I do have something to discuss with you. I'm just embarrassed to say it, Margaret sneered. Then, perhaps you shouldn't say it at all. Ingrid was retorted rather speechless, and on the inside, she could not help cursing the old lady's ruthlessness. However, on the surface, Ingrid was still wearing the false smile. Oh, well, it's about Bruce and Roxy. You see, they've been dating each other for too long. Maybe it's time for them to get married. With a frown, Margaret said nothing. Roxanne was rubbing her fingers nervously, her face scarlet. Here in Greyport, normally, it should be the groom's family taking the initiative to talk about the wedding. However, given the circumstances, she could only ignore the tradition as long as she could be Bruce's legal wife. Ingrid gave the silent Margaret another sheepish smile. The sooner they get married, the sooner they can have children. Imagine that, Margaret, you will have great-grandchildren. Margaret's mouth twitched as she replied coldly, you should discuss this with Bruce. I don't have a problem with when he'd like to get married. Right, but young people don't like to bother themselves with these matters. As their guardians, we have to make arrangements, don't we? And before Ingrid could finish, Margaret had already stood up. That's enough, Ingrid. I'm tired. Besides, Bruce is not a kid anymore. He can make his own decision. What? But Mrs. Everett, Corbin, see the guests out. Ingrid was so embarrassed, her mind occupied by anxiety. Mrs. Haynes, said Corbin, who had blocked Ingrid's view. Mrs. Everett is not well and needs to rest. She can't be disturbed. Please, allow me to see you out. Fine. Ingrid and Roxanne had hit dead ends, and they had no choice but to leave now. After they were gone, Margaret snorted with a sneer. Humph, those two clowns thought we Everetts are a bunch of idiots. Bruce had also come out of his bedroom. Unlike the poker-faced man whom people considered, Bruce put his arms around his grandmother's shoulder with a bright smile. Grandma, why are you so prejudiced against Roxy? He came back from a business trip to Europe yesterday. But he did not want to see Roxanne. So he lied that he was coming back the day after tomorrow. How can she be any better when her mother is a woman like that? Like mother, like daughter. Margaret replied. She disliked every part of Ingrid. She might be too old to fight in the front, but behind the scenes, Margaret was still in control of the Everett Corp. After all, an incapable old lady could not help her grandson all the way up to the most successful entrepreneur in the city. Back in Margaret's days, Ingrid had already been a famous gold digger in Greyport. After hooking up with Sean Haynes, Ingrid finally made her way into the so-called upper-class society. Thus, how could Ingrid's history and little tricks hide from Margaret's sharp eyes? Grandma, Roxy is not like her mother at all. They are not the same. You can't just. Bruce tried to convince the old lady. Yet his grandmother's face sank as she interrupted. Do you remember what I've told you? Have you done it? Bruce looked confused. Done what? Oh, you silly boy, Joanna's kids. Haven't I told you to invite Joanna and her sons over? I'd like to see them. Bruce froze, at a loss for words. Both of them remained silent for quite a while. Then Bruce finally spoke up, first with an angry snort. Grandma, what's the point of seeing her sons? Oh, you stupid child. Do the math. Those two boys might be your children. Bruce's jaw nearly dropped when hearing this. What? No way. That's impossible. I asked her, and she told me herself that they are not my sons. Alas, you don't understand women at all. She hates you so much, and she might be saying that to simply make you mad. To make me mad. Bruce blinked, stupidly, but then, it came to him. Indeed, he had been quite awful to her. It made sense. Anyhow, bring the boys over first and take a paternity test, said Margaret. If they are not your sons, so be it. However, if they are your kids, they can't wander alone out there without a father. Well, I see. After the work of 5 days, Joanna had finally moved into her new apartment. She had cleaned it up, and they were able to settle down at last. The apartment was in the city center, and it was quite large. Apart from the 4 bedrooms and the sitting rooms, there were also 2 nannies' rooms. The rent was $40,000 a month. Though Joanna was the current chairwoman of the Haynes Group, she did not have too much cash. She had properties and company shares. If she required a large amount of cash, she had to sell them. And over the years, there was none left of the money that her mother left her with. However, in a city like Greenport, where every square inch counted, it could easily cost people tens of millions to purchase a comfortable apartment. Therefore, between a comfortable apartment and life, Joanna had to make a choice. She chose the latter. Ads by Pub Future. Joanne, have you read the news? Jaden came over and helped Joanna clean up. Joanna, busy with her 3 children's clothes, replied without looking up. I'm too busy to think of anything else. Moving is so tiring. Jaden smiled slightly. Well, have a look then. You'll be surprised. With that, Jaden handed Joanna his cell phone. After reading a few pages of the comments, Joanna sighed. To be honest, I really don't want this to happen. I don't want to fall out with my dad. Yet, he left me with no other options. Don't think too much, said Jaden. You need to show your strength. The more you ignore the bad guys, the more they think you are a pushover. Only when you fight back can you really protect yourself and your children. You're right. Thank you, Jay. Come on. You are always so polite to me. But I own you. That's the least I should say. I don't know what I could do without you, said Joanna. Jaden stared at her beautiful eyes and asked, Do you really want to thank me? Of course I do. Jaden gave her a bright smile. Then, will you marry me? Joanna froze, and there was a hint of fluster in her eyes. She did not know if Jaden had meant it. What she did know was that if she had no kids and if she was still a young girl, she would not hesitate to accept his proposal. But now, no, she was not good enough for him. Noticing the unease on her face, Jaden smiled sheepishly as he patted her on the shoulder. Oh, I'm just kidding. An awkward smile broke on Joanna's pretty face. Jay, don't make such jokes. You are embarrassing me. Jaden was looking at her gently with a warm smile, but on the inside, her hesitation cut deeply. For him, tenderness was the thing he had never given to any woman. Any woman but Joanna. 6 years ago, on Joanna's birthday, when Jaden was going to tell her his feelings, Bruce ruined the moment. That was the regret of his life. I'm gonna need to take some pictures of you today, said Jaden. Sure, and you need to take Devian and Irwin with you, he added. Joanna hesitated for a few seconds. But in the end, she agreed with a smile. Hours later, they were out in the park. At sunset, Joanna was strolling in a white dress with her sons. With a click, Jaden recorded this moment with his camera. In the photo, the scene of Joanna and her sons looked quite harmonious. Haynes' house. It had only been days, but the public opinion had completely reversed. Ingrid's dirty past just kept trending on the internet. It annoyed Ingrid badly. Joanna, you're so shameless, she cursed. Mom, what's wrong? Roxanne asked, tentatively. I just called the wife of the website's manager, and she said she couldn't do anything about it. Damn it, I'm so mad. Ingrid smashed her cups into pieces and went on furiously, hire more people to write stories about Joanna. I'll crush her. The next day, several new posts came as expected. Joanna Haynes, a promiscuous woman who brings shames on her family. 10 tricks that Joanna played while taking Raymond's legacy. Joanna Haynes seducing her brother-in-law. Posts and news like these were spread on the internet once again. Chapter 24. Ingrid had spent a lot of money, paying off a lot of trolls to keep attacking Joanna. She will never make it this time, Ingrid was saying to her daughter. But Mom, Roxanne asked, we've spent too much money. And it doesn't feel like it's working at all. Oh, you know nothing. Ingrid replied. Just wait, that Joanna bitch will be spat on by the whole report in no time. Ingrid smirked viciously, picturing her moment of victory. However, things did not go as she expected. On the next morning, before these news stories could get out, accounts of the trolls hired by Ingrid were blocked. One night passed. The public's attention had shifted from Joanna to a popular actress, Carmel Basil. She was a new star in Jaden's company, and she won her first Best Actress award yesterday. Besides, Carmel just announced she had a boyfriend who was an accomplished actor. The news instantly rocked the whole internet. It caught the public's attention. Actually, it was a marketing strategy masterminded by Jaden. Carmel was not in a relationship with that actor at all. The company hyped such a relationship to attract the public. Also, they wanted to distract the public's attention from Joanna. Ingrid had been waiting to see Joanna's scandal. However, although she had spent a lot of money, it didn't work at all. Mom, I told you. It doesn't work. Let me figure out another way to deal with her. Ingrid gnashed her teeth in hatred. Roxy, Mr. Everett will be back soon. Get ready to pick him up. Remember to further your relationship. You've been dating for so many years. It's okay to be proactive and bold. Are you still a virgin? It's not a bad thing. This would make you more valuable. Mom, Roxanne felt a little embarrassed. Actually, she was no longer a virgin. When she was in college, she once went to a summer camp with her classmate. It was a crazy night for everyone. A boy paid special attention to her, and he was also good at flirting. He was a school hunk who was tall and handsome. Stimulated by the alcohol, Roxanne failed to control herself and slept with him. Since she had the first experience, she did it again and again. The boy was very good at flirting. She was titillated every time. Until now, she still contacted that boy every month. And then she would spend a crazy night with him. However, that boy was poor. He could give her nothing but physical pleasure. Therefore, she would not marry him. Chapter 25. But as an adult, she had physical needs. She tried to maintain a pure image before Bruce. So she couldn't casually allow him to touch her or let him feel she was not pure. By contrast, she could enjoy the physical pleasure without any scruples when she was staying with that boy. Ads by Pub Future. Since she pretended to be pure for too long, she was a little agitated. She needed to vent her feelings. On the side, Bruce dared not disobey his grandma, so he had to bite the bullet and ask Joanna for the child. His grandma was his only family, and she was old. He was very filial to her. No matter what she asked him to do, he would try his best to make her happy. Since she wanted to see the child, he wouldn't disappoint her. In the early morning, Bruce directly went to the Haynes group. Where is Joanna? Miss Haynes hasn't been in the office for several days. Bruce was a little surprised. Then he took out his mobile phone to call her. But he found he didn't have her number. 2 years into their marriage, Joanna had always been the one who made the phone call. And he disdained saving her number. Now, 4 years had passed, and her number had already been wiped from the phone records. But it seemed that he could still contact her through Facebook Messenger. They had divorced 4 years ago, though. He didn't delete her in Messenger. Sometimes, when a message came, he would hope it was from Joanna. However, she never texted him once. At first, he thought she could not live without him. He thought she would continue to pester him after the divorce and use all kinds of methods to get him back. Only now had he discovered that this was not the case. Joanna was actually a very proud person. Bruce's face darkened, and he found her Messenger account. Her profile photo was still the same as before. It was a picture she took when she was in high school. She was beautiful and energetic at that time. Her eyes were like bright stars. People would be amazed when they saw them. It was a pity that he couldn't see her eyes shining like stars anymore. Bruce hesitated for a few minutes and then typed, "Hello." It was the first time he had reached out to her. After the message was sent, he gave a dry cough to hide his embarrassment. As an arrogant and paranoid man, Bruce was unlikely to admit his care about others. An hour passed. Bruce still hadn't received her reply. His face darkened. Being ignored by Joanna really hurt his pride. He thought, how dare this woman not reply to me? We need to talk. Bruce sent a second message in anger. After waiting for a long time, he still didn't receive her reply. Now, things got worse. Bruce was completely irradiated. His face was dark and grim. He involuntarily loosened his tie and smoked several cigarettes. Andy, inform the Haynes Group. Tomorrow we will hold a general meeting of stockholders. All the shareholders must be present. Actually, he didn't care whether Mr. Roger and Mr. Paul came or not. He just wanted to see Joanna. Yes, sir. Since he couldn't see her in private, he planned to meet her in the company. He thought she dared not miss the shareholders' meeting. The next day, Mr. Roger and Mr. Paul arrived at the company early. Although Bruce was not the chairman of the board, his words were much more powerful than Joanna's. They could overlook Joanna's words but dared not disobey Bruce. Good morning, Mr. Everett. The meeting was set for 9 o'clock. Bruce arrived at the lobby 10 minutes earlier. After a while, Joanna finally came. She wore a black Dior suit with a skirt and white shirt today. As her hair was casually tied in a low ponytail, she looked cool and chilly with a pair of black-rimmed glasses. She walked fast and looked sassy. Joanna's personal assistant Cora followed her. They walked one by one toward the elevator. Seeing Joanna come, Bruce immediately caught up with her. He acted as if he had just arrived and met her by accident. Joanna. Joanna looked back and said, Mr. Everett, you've been missing for days. I thought you were dead. Bruce said sarcastically. Then he calmed himself and felt a little regret. That was not what he thought. He grew up with everyone sucking up to him. He had a powerful family, and he was also capable. Therefore, his temper wouldn't be too good. Joanna rolled her eyes and didn't want to answer him. Bruce asked, yesterday, I sent you a message on Facebook Messenger. Why didn't you reply? Joanna was confused. I didn't receive it. Really? You didn't receive it, or you just don't want to reply? Oh, I don't use my previous account anymore. Bruce was speechless. He said sarcastically, so I should go to the company to find you if I want to contact you. Cora, give him my business card. Mr. Everett, this is Miss Haynes's business card. Her office number was on it. But she only answers it during her office hour. Bruce was lost for words. He was angry that she only gave him the office number. It meant that she was not even willing to give him her private number. It did not matter. After all, he could find her number anyway as long as he wanted. No, thanks. I'll ask my assistant to inform you if there's something important. Bruce replied sourly. Joanna frowned and said in a cold tone, what is it you want to see me about? Bruce cleared his throat with embarrassment and said, well, my grandma wants to see the two kids. So, before Bruce finished speaking, Joanna turned angry. Sorry, Mr. Everett, we can talk in the company if you want to discuss anything about work. I don't think we need to meet in private. Besides, my kids are not obligated to meet strangers. Joanna, Grandma is getting old. She just wants to see the kids. She doesn't have other thoughts. Sorry, they can't go to see her. Joanna refused firmly. Bruce's grandma was shrewd. She wanted to see the kids because she was already wondering if they were Bruce's kids. If she saw them, she would surely let Bruce take them to do the paternity test. By then, it wouldn't be so easy to get the kids back. Bruce was angry. He lifted his hand and hit the elevator wall. Joanna, don't overdo it. Bruce, that's what I want to say to you. We made a deal when we got divorced. We have nothing to do with each other from then on. What are you doing now? Whose kids are they? It's none of your business. They are not yours anyway. Bruce sneered, locked her in his arms, and said, really? If I know they are my kids, I'll give you a hard time. You are just insane. Seeing that they began to quarrel, Cora was pale with fear. She wished she could be invisible. Just then, the elevator reached the floor where the conference was. You go out first, Bruce said to Cora. Okay, ads by Pub Future. Cora lowered her head and hurried out of the elevator. Bruce still supported the elevator wall with his hands, trying to trap Joanna from getting out of the elevator. He softened his voice and said, Grandma just wants to see them. It won't take long. I can do whatever you say, as long as you agree to take the kids to see her. Bruce, my kids have nothing to do with your family. And they don't need to see anyone. Let go of me. Joanna pushed Bruce several times in anger. But Bruce was tall and strong since he worked out a lot. Although she tried her best to push him, it was useless. Bang! Bruce stepped forward and pushed her against the wall. If you continue to be like this, I won't be so polite. Joanna tried to find the electric shock rod in the pocket. However, since he had learned the lesson before, he wouldn't let her do it again. Bruce caught her hands and trapped them on the elevator wall. We can do it the easy way or the hard way. It's your choice. You know it. If I want to do something, I will do it anyway. Let go of me. Bruce, don't be rude. Ding! The elevator door opened again. Oh, Mr. Everett and Miss Haynes. What are you doing? Mr. Roger and Mr. Paul were startled. Bruce's face darkened. He released Joanna unhappily. Then he walked out of the elevator with a sullen face. Joanna calmed herself down and also followed him out. In the conference room, Mr. Everett, do you have any announcements for the shareholders meeting today? Mr. Roger asked with a flattering smile. Nothing. I just want to see you guys since we haven't met for several days. Mr. Roger and Mr. Paul were stunned. Seeing you are all good, I am also reassured. You are free now. Mr. Roger and Mr. Paul were more confused. When they received the news that Bruce would hold the shareholders meeting in person, they took it seriously and stayed up all night with excitement. They prepared for a long time in the early morning. They specially dressed up for fear of being indecent. But now they felt they were fooled by Bruce. Bruce frowned and said, I have nothing to announce. The meeting is over. Although his voice was not loud, his natural august vibe made people terrified. What? Okay, all right. We will go back then. Mr. Roger and Mr. Paul, please hold on. Joanna stopped them in time. Bruce turned unhappy. I asked them to go. Well, we should leave now. After finishing speaking, Mr. Roger and Mr. Paul dared not to stay longer and fled. Joanna was very angry. Bruce, what the hell are you doing? We are in the company, the working place. It's not a place for fun. So what? That's my freedom. What are you gonna do to me? You are shameless. Poraltra Limited, independent marketing agency. Joanna gnashed her teeth in anger. Now, take the kids to visit Grandma. Otherwise, I will interrupt your work every day. Bruce, don't overdo it. Joanna, don't be so stubborn. As he was speaking, he stepped forward and clutched her wrist. She panicked and tried to get rid of him. Just speak. Don't touch me. Bruce suddenly felt restless. He tried to calm himself down, but he couldn't. He had lust after her scent since it was still in his memory. Once she got close, he would become crazy. All of a sudden, Bruce pressed her against the conference table. Oh, what are you doing? Let go of me. He couldn't resist the urge to conquer her. Today, he decided to conquer this obstinate woman again. Joanna struggled desperately. Unfortunately, her resistance brought even greater danger. Bruce, don't. Please. His kisses were fierce, hard, and aggressive. Her shirt was torn. Joanna was completely afraid. She knew that this imperious man would never be gentle to her. When they were still married, he had already been so tyrannical. The harder it was for her to bear, the ruder he was. Let go of me. Joanna couldn't get rid of him, so she bit him hard. The smell of blood filled his mouth. However, it made him fiercer. She suddenly got some bruises on her neck. Joanna couldn't help crying. She beat him feebly. She hated this terrible man much. She didn't know why she had loved him before. Not only that, she loved him so much. Her love toward Bruce had made her so humble when facing him. But this man had never given her a little love or tenderness. Now, she just hated him as much as how she had loved him before. Just then, a buzz interrupted them. Bruce's cell phone rang. He ignored it. The cell phone was still buzzing. His movements slightly softened. At first, he didn't want to answer the phone. However, he told his grandma that he would take the kids to see her today. So he worried that it was his grandma calling. He was distracted for a moment. Joanna took the opportunity to bite him hard. It was a nasty bite. Ads by Pub Future. Beads of red blood rolled from his lips. Bruce gasped and frowned. He touched his lips and saw blood on his hand. The damned woman, he thought. How dare she bite me so hard? Joanna freed herself and struggled to slide down the conference table. But her body was weak, and she was barely able to stand steadily. She had to hold the conference table and tried to be stable. Bruce, if you do this again, I will call the police. Do whatever you want. Bruce ignored her menace and picked up his cell phone to take a look. The caller was Roxanne. There had been 5 missed calls on his cell phone. Bruce frowned and finally answered, "Hello. Bruce, did you get on the plane? I'm going to pick you up. I have come back." The phone was silent for a few seconds. Roxanne asked with disappointment, "So when did you get back?" "Last night." Roxanne felt sadder after hearing that. Since he came back last night, why didn't he call me? She thought, what's wrong? I'm gonna hang up if you have nothing else to say. Bruce's lower lip hurt badly. He just wanted to hang up the phone immediately and continue to deal with Joanna. "Bruce, how about having dinner tonight? I have a meeting tonight. Maybe some other time." Listening to their talk, Joanna knew it was Roxanne who made the call. Joanna was annoyed that Bruce always bullied her. So she wanted to take revenge on him. "Mr. Everett, you should spend more time with your girlfriend. After all, we're divorced. Leave me alone," Joanna deliberately said in a loud voice. The other end of the line suddenly became silent. Bruce also frowned, glaring at Joanna. Joanna glared back more sternly. Yes, she was on purpose. She wanted Roxanne to know that Bruce was staying with her. Besides, it was Bruce who was haunting her, not she was haunting Bruce. "I'll hang up then." Bruce directly hung up the phone. Beep beep. Roxanne was bitterly disappointed at that moment. Her hand quivered slightly as she was holding the phone. "Joanna, you slut. I can't believe you hooked up with Bruce again." She couldn't help crying. The more she thought, the angrier Roxanne was. She directly called that boy. "Hello, Gavin. Are you there?" The boy's name was Gavin. He was a little flattered when he got Roxanne's phone call. Yeah, it's me." Roxanne rarely looked for him recently. Thinking that she was ready to have further development with Bruce, she did not want to get too close to Gavin. She was more afraid that Bruce would discover her secret. "I want to see you." "When?" "Now." "Okay, let's meet at the usual place." "Okay." The place where they met secretly was a sushi bar. The sushi bar had many private rooms where they would not be disturbed. As soon as they got into the room, they embraced each other passionately without saying a word. "Roxy, I miss you much," said Gavin. At the same time, he did all he could to please her. A few moments later, Roxanne was too impatient to wait. She was sweating profusely. She was as soft as mud. Actually, she didn't love Gavin. But she liked the excitement and pleasure he brought her. Gavin understood her and knew what she needed. After they were done, "Roxy, what's the matter?" Gavin hugged Roxanne and asked gently. He liked Roxanne, but he knew he was not good enough for her. He was already very content to meet her secretly like this. Roxanne was a little wistful. She said softly, "Nothing. I'm just feeling sad." "Why?" Gavin asked more gently. Roxanne couldn't hold back her tears. She wished Bruce could also be so considerate, know her so well, love her so much, and be so obsessed with her body. "Are you alright? Can you tell me what happened?" Gavin asked more gently. Roxanne sneered, "What's the point of telling you? You are just a gigolo." Hearing that, Gavin grinned. Then, his gestures and postures became more wanton and provocative. "Oh, God. Be gentle. I'm a gigolo. So what?" Gavin was infuriated by this remark. His movements became fierce. Roxanne liked wolf-like men like him. She indulged in it again. Gavin knew himself. It was true that he could give her nothing materially. Even the high cost of the sushi bar was far beyond his competence. Roxanne had to pay for it every time. However, he had an awareness of his advantages. So he could serve Roxanne very well every time and let her fully enjoy the pleasure of being a woman. He knew what women really wanted. A woman needed a man who could bring her much physical pleasure. At least, she couldn't leave him until someone better could replace him. "Gavin, I don't want to go back today." "That's great." Then, they left the sushi bar. Sitting on the back of Gavin's motorcycle, Roxanne went to Gavin's home with him. It was a shanty in a slum at the foot of a hill. Dirty, messy, smelly. There was a large gap between the poor and the rich in Greyport. Even though the two places were both close to the mountain, their situation could be drastically different. Although Roxanne was from a rich family, she felt more comfortable here. Here she could shed all her disguise, and no one knew her. Ads by Pub Future. They became crazy again. In the conference room, Joanna, I'm gonna ask you one last time. No matter how many times you ask, I won't let my kids meet strangers. No fracking way. Bruce's heart ached with anger. Pointing the finger at her, he shouted, fine, fine. Don't push me. Being rebuffed, Bruce left in a rage. Since he failed to persuade her, he could only play hardball. After seeing that Bruce had gone away, Joanna sank into the chair. Her tears ran uncontrollably. That was a close call. If Roxanne had not called Bruce, she would have been bullied by him. Beep beep. Joanna couldn't help but call Jaden. On the other end of the line, Jaden was busy in his office. The coquette Carmel was wearing a black silk servant costume. With cute bunny ears on her head, she was kneeling on the ground and pleasing him eagerly and seductively. The phone rang. His interest was damped down, and he frowned. Originally, he did not want to answer it. But hearing it was Joanna calling, he immediately picked up the phone. He had set a special ringtone for her, and he was excited to hear it. Joanna seldom called him. Taking a deep breath, Jaden calmed down and motioned Carmel to stop. But she had been spoiled by him recently and was very capricious. She ignored him and continued. Jaden had to hold his breath and answered the phone. Hello, what's the matter? Joanne. Jaden's voice was gentle and magnetic. People who heard this voice would naturally think that the person on the other end of the line should be a gentle, elegant man. The phone was connected. Joanna suddenly didn't know what to say. She couldn't tell him what had happened between her and Bruce just now. Even if she told him, there was nothing he could do. Nothing. I just want to call you. Jaden was a little surprised. He smiled and asked, do you miss me? Hearing that, the coquette who was kneeling on the ground was certainly jealous. She gave him a scrape with her sharp little teeth. Jaden couldn't help but gasp. His voice was very low, and it could almost be ignored. But Joanna still heard it at the other end of the line. Well, take your time. Bye. Then, she weakly pressed the button and hung up the phone. Hold on, Joanne. After Joanna hung up, Jaden felt a little lost. It was the third time Joanna had called him. The first time was right after her divorce. It rained heavily that night. She came out of Everett's house, dragging her suitcase. She had nowhere to go and couldn't even get a cab. So she called him and asked him to take her to the airport. The second time was when she was about to give birth to a child. She slipped and fell in the bathroom, and the unborn fetus was damaged. She was bleeding badly, and this time, he thought something must have happened to her again, or she wouldn't have called him. Jaden felt very worried. He immediately sent a message to Joanna. Where are you? I'll be right with you. After sending the message, Jaden immediately stood up and put on his pants. Carmel was in a daze. She pouted and said, Sir, I haven't finished yet. You will be the heroine of the next show. Get out of here. Hearing that, Carmel immediately smiled. Wiping her mouth, she exclaimed, Thank you, sir. Jaden didn't want to say anything more and tidied up his clothes. He took his car key and left in a hurry. On the other end of the line, looking at the message sent by Jaden, Joanna was silent for a long time. She didn't reply to him. What was Jaden like? She actually knew him. He gave her all his tenderness, probably just because he had never got her. Send. Joanna didn't know what was wrong with her. Strangely, she suddenly became sensitive again. After divorcing Bruce, she made a secret vow that she would not fall in love with anyone in this life. Being in a relationship with someone could only bring her nothing but pain. But now, only 4 years later, her mind was in turmoil again because of Bruce. Joanna frowned, shedding bitter tears. Then she opened her bag and took out some pills of sertraline and paroxetine. Without any hesitation, she took the pills. Then she became a work maniac and buried herself in work again. She didn't go to the company these days, thus having a lot of business to do. Today, she would work overtime to get all these things done. Her work team was starting to roll in. It was time to get rid of some dead wood in the company. Half an hour later, a black Mercedes-Benz S600 was parked downstairs. As soon as the door opened, Jaden got off in a hurry. He had numerous luxury cars and drivers. But he didn't want to show off when he went out alone. So when he was outside by himself, he drove this car most often. "Where is Joanne?" Jaden went to the reception of the company and asked with concern. "Miss Haynes is having a meeting. Please take a seat here and wait for a while, Mr. Grimm." "Okay, all right." Jaden sat down in the reception room, and Cora poured him a glass of lemonade. Jaden was thirsty. He took the lemonade and drank it up. "Would you like another cup, Mr. Grimm?" Cora asked with a smile. "Okay, thank you." With a meaningful smile, Jaden blinked at Cora. He was good at flirting with girls. Many girls were mesmerized by his amorous eyes. Cora gave him another glass of water and went back to her post. Looking at Cora, Jaden couldn't help but praise her. "You are in great shape. It's a pity that you choose to join the showbiz." "Didn't, Mr. Grimm, please don't make jokes." Cora's face turned red at once. It was true that her body was hot. Although her face was not so attractive, she had a good figure. Ads by Pub Future. She was 5 feet and 7 inches tall. She was well shaped with a slender waist and long legs. Jaden had to admit that her figure was quite striking. Thinking of this, he took more glances at Cora again. He had a weakness for girls with big chests and long legs. Of course, Joanna was an exception. She was too thin and weak. But her face was stunningly pretty. Her eyes were especially amazing. They were the prettiest eyes he had ever seen in a woman. 1 hour later, Joanna's meeting was over. Jaden and Cora also finished flirting. They friended each other in Messenger and kept each other's numbers. The next thing they would do was date someday. "Miss Haynes, Mr. Grimm is coming." "Okay, let him in." "Yes, Joanne." Jaden ogled Cora and then went into Joanna's office. In the office, Joanna was sitting by the computer and seriously looking at the documents. She was focused and careful, and her face was beautifully made up. She looked fresh, capable, and shrewd. It brought him right back to sobriety and decency. "You've come. Take a seat. Give me 10 minutes. I have some work to do right now." "Okay, take your time." Jaden sat down on the sofa opposite her. Joanna continued to read the documents. Jaden looked at her without saying anything. He also enjoyed it very much. Looking at her was different from looking at other women. When he was looking at other women, there would be a burning desire in his heart. But he felt very placid when he was looking at her. He just wanted to protect her and take care of her. Just now, Joanna suddenly hung up the phone. He had thought she was angry, so he rushed here to apologize. But when he got here, he suddenly felt he didn't need to do it. Joanna had always known he often had women around him. 10 minutes had passed. Joanna finished processing the documents. She brushed her hair from her forehead and smiled at Jaden. "Are you done?" Jaden stood up, slowly walked to her, bent over, and put his hand on her chair. "Why did you just now?" "All me." Joanna smiled at him and said, "Nothing. I just wanted to call you. I wondered if there were any good restaurants nearby." Jaden was surprised. Being lost for words, he didn't believe her excuse at all. Seeing this, Joanna explained, "Really, it's nothing. I just moved. I thought I hadn't had dinner with you in a while. So I wanted to have dinner with you tonight." Smiling, Jaden got an idea and said, "Well, I know a good restaurant. Let's have dinner there tonight. There is nothing good to eat around here." Hearing that, Joanna frowned. She asked, "Is it far from here?" "I can't go too far. I still have work to do tonight. Don't let me down. You should listen to me if you want to invite me to dinner." "All right. Do we need a reservation?" "No, I am a member there. But let me pay today. Every time I asked you to dinner, you ended up footing the bill." "Okay, I will eat something good this time. After all, you are on the board of directors of such a big company. I'm going to cost you a fortune." Joanna couldn't help laughing. "Okay, you can eat as much as you like. Let's take Devian and Irwin together." "Okay, I know. Then Joanna called Miranda. Hello, Miranda. Take Devian and Irwin downstairs. I'll pick you up later. Let's go out for dinner tonight. Tell Nancy she didn't need to cook today. You can go downstairs 20 minutes later. Okay, got it, Miss Haynes. It's time to go. Okay. Joanna turned off the computer and tidied things up. Joanna's house. Hearing someone call Miranda, Devian and Irwin ran over excitedly and exclaimed, Miranda, was Mommy calling you? Yes, your mommy said we would go out for dinner tonight. She asked you to get dressed right now. Yeah, that's great. They hurried to change their clothes. After changing the clothes, they happily followed Miranda downstairs. 10 minutes had passed. Miranda and the two little boys stood at the gate of the community, waiting for Joanna to come. They just had been waiting 1 minute. All of a sudden, some malicious-looking men in black suits came over. Without saying a word, they went ahead and forcibly took the two children. Miranda was freaking out. What are you doing? Away. Put them down. There is a kidnapping. Help. Miranda cried and tried to snatch the children back. However, she was more than 50 years old. She was too weak to snatch them back. Ouch. Miranda was pushed to the ground by a man in black. There is a kidnapping. Help. Let go of me. Let go of me. Two men in black hurried to the car parked nearby, with two little boys under their arms. Let go of me, Devian shouted. He had a fiery temper, which made him more resemble Bruce. Just then, lowering his head, he bit the man in black on the wrist. The sting made the man let out a scream. Oops, how dare you? Ouch. When the man in black was rubbing his wrist, Devian suddenly reached out and punched his eyes. The man felt it really hurt and had to release Devian. Devian fell to the ground. Although it was painful, he was not afraid at all. Getting up quickly, he shouted as he ran to the front, You let my brother go. Let my brother go. Help. Someone is abducting the children. Miranda also threw herself at one of the men in black and clung to his ankle. The scene was a mess. Just then, Jaden and Joanna's cars arrived one behind the other. Seeing the situation, Joanna soon realized it was Bruce who sent the men to grab the children. Stop it, said she sternly. Joanna quickly stopped the car and got out without closing the door. She immediately took an arm-thick electric baton from the trunk. Put my kids down. The electric baton hissed. Joanna rushed at them like a maniac with her electric baton. The baton carried a strong current. A man immediately fainted. Noticing this, the men in black were shocked. They all stepped back out of fear. Put my kids down, Joanna said again. But these men were all professional bodyguards. Since they were hired by Bruce, their physical strength and fighting strength could not be underestimated. They were really difficult men. After a few seconds, one of those men kicked the electric baton out of Joanna's hand. Joanna fell to the ground at once. About this time, Jaden also stopped the car and quickly hurried up to her. Ads by Pub Future. He had been practicing boxing since childhood and had won a boxing championship. He can handle these men. Seeing that the man in black wanted to kick Joanna again, Jaden stopped him immediately. Then, Jaden got into a fight with these men in black. Joanna also joined the fight, but she was too weak. Chapter 30. She couldn't even get close to these professional bodyguards. Miranda, call the police. Okay, got it. Miranda got up and ran to the security room. There was an alarm in the security room. It had already set the information of location, address, and so on. As soon as the button was pressed, the car would arrive in 5 minutes. Someone is kidnapping the children there. Hearing this, the security guards ran out to check what was going on. It's a kidnapping. Someone is abducting the children. You let go of me. Let go of me. Devian and Irwin had been pulled to the door of the car. The two little boys clung to the door and refused to get in. Not far away, several security guards rushed over. Meanwhile, the sound of the police car could also be heard. Many passers-by also stopped to watch. In another car, Bruce's face darkened. Apparently, he couldn't take the children away today. He would have more trouble if reporters and police officers came later. Bruce's face became cold. He said into the pager, Everybody, get in the car and go. All the bodyguards wore a headset in their ears. Hearing the instructions of Bruce, they dared not to delay. They had to release the children, get into the car, and drive away quickly. Mommy, The two little boys were still frightened. They ran over to Joanna one after the other. Joanna was also very worried. She ran a few steps forward and held the two children close to her. Devian, Irwin, don't be afraid. Mommy is here. Let mommy check if you are hurt. Joanna hurriedly checked the injury of the two children. Devian had skinned his arm, and blood was oozing out. Irwin also got a finger-long scratch on his face. Even if he recovered, he might have a scar on his face. Seeing that, Joanna felt very sorry for the children and shed tears. Chapter 30. At the same time, she was even more determined not to let Bruce take the two children away. What's going on? The security guards arrived. Miranda said in a panic, someone was abducting the children just now. They almost took the two children away. Where are they? They have run away. Come here and make a statement, so that we can tell the officers what happened when they got here. Miranda, you go with them to make the statement. I'll take Devian and Irwin to the hospital. Okay, got it. Jaden was also slightly injured. His arm was twisted. His face was also punched, and it was starting to swell up. But the bodyguards who fought against him didn't take advantage, either. Two of them had their arms broken, and one lost a tooth. Jaden frowned. Joanne, they don't look like child abductors. Joanna replied coldly, it's Bruce. Bruce, did he know everything? He must have suspected it. What are you gonna do? I'm confused now. I don't know what to do. Joanne, we can't go on like this. If there is no way out, we can send Devian and Irwin abroad. Hearing that, Joanna hesitated. She had been busy with work for the past 4 years, but she was with her children every day. If sending the children abroad now, she wouldn't be able to look after them. She would not be reassured of letting others attend to her kids. Therefore, she must go abroad with them.